It's 5 a.m. here in Tasmania's Central Highlands.
We've gotten up so early because we're in search of clues as to whether ecologists have found the key to making sure one of Australia's most unique species, the eastern quoll, continues to survive. And it all hinges on the genetics of the marsupials we're about to meet.
The hard work began yesterday afternoon, setting traps for the quolls to wander into overnight. The bait of choice used by quoll whisperer David Hamilton is cat food.
So we actually find that some of the quolls can get quite trap happy. So they're used to the traps being there, and then they're ready to come out and have a feed in the evening, go in, and then we have a quick measure of them in the morning and then just let them go.
Last November, 20 captive-bred quolls were released at Silver Plains in the hope they would breed with the local quolls and shore up the population.
So the idea of what we're doing just now is coming back a year on to see who's still around, how many of them have made it to this point, and to try and get some samples from the juvenile cohort. So the way we get the best handle on that is looking at how much genetic representation, so how many genes the animals from captivity have got into the population.
And because the quoll traps can be so popular, David sets some extra ones.
So these traps are to try and catch the Tasmanian devils, so they're not going into the quoll traps and taking up the space that we've reserved for the quolls to be caught.
At sunrise, it's time to see if the early wake-up call has paid off. Not all the traps will have juvenile quolls in them, but any quoll or other creature found will be measured and assessed. Luckily, it doesn't take long to come across a potential juvie.
I'm just putting the bag over here, so hopefully she'll run in, or he will run in, as soon as I open the door of the trap, and that way we can get them in the trap, scan the microchip, and we can figure out who it is.
It's important the quoll remains in a dark bag for now so it stays calm. A quick scan confirms what they'd hoped.
Yep, this is a newbie. Fantastic.
First, they weigh the quoll.
This is a juvenile, for sure. 0.96.
Then a microchip is inserted to help with future tracking. Next, the all-important tissue sample, so they can find out whether it's related to the captive-bred quolls. And after a bit of poking and prodding, she's ready to be released. The stakes are high. The eastern quoll is extinct on the mainland and endemic to Tasmania.
Despite the absence of most predators here in Tasmania, the eastern quoll is still in decline. Scientists aren't exactly sure why yet, but they believe it could be climate change related in some areas. By starting off conservation efforts before populations are critically low, they're hoping they get the upper hand.
So we're coming in at the point where there's still quolls around in lots of places. There's still a local population for these captive-bred individuals to interact with and to learn from.
The team drives through the area to check all 50 or so traps for quolls. The final tally for the day, 9 eastern quolls, 1 spotted quoll, 4 devils, and 1 surprise visitor.
Brush-tailed possum here, which is not one of the species that we were trying to catch. He's just gone in for a bit of food, so we'll just let him go. It's an impressive size, isn't it? All right, I'll just
Yeah.
Most importantly, 2 of the 9 eastern quolls caught were juveniles, and their samples will be on their way to the lab.
They'll be sent to a lab, and then I'll get the sequence back and I'll analyse that and basically match up the genetic pairs and see who's the mum and who's the dad.
And if there are signs of success, it's hoped the program will inform similar projects elsewhere in Tasmania and on the mainland. Alexandra Alvaro, ABC News.